And then, wow. Okay, we are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Migration Truth podcast. And this evening, we have quite an unusual topic to talk about, something that we don't usually talk about, or at least never talked about. And that's the current situation in South Africa. Excuse me. But before we go deeper into that, I'd like to welcome everybody. If this is your first time here, um, my co-host and I, who's joining me from Nigeria, we do this once every other week, and we talk about one topic or another within the migration space, what is affecting us here, but also back home. Um, Give me a second. Mike, over to you, and I will take care of my colleague in the background here.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. And a very good evening to all of you out there, to our audience in the different platforms. The situation in Africa, in South Africa to be precise, is not funny, Mike. It's not funny. As I try to speak with you all backstage, Ghana is overwhelmed. First of all, they made arrangement for the repatriation of 300 Ghanaians from South Africa. And after the first set of people landed, over 800 have requested that they want to leave too for fear of safety and all that.
No way. No
In
way.
Nigeria, Peter Obi was there the other time. A number of them said they're not coming, but we're also hearing that over 1,000 of them have requested that they want to return back.
Mhm,
Because don't forget
mhm.
that they have the indigenous South Africans have set June 30th as the deadline. After which, if you are still in South Africa, whatever happens to you, take it.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, so now we watch videos of people who have all their papers properly documented by migrants who have lived in South Africa, contributed to their revenue, GDP over the years, 10, 20 years counting, and they will just show up at your business place and ask you to close, to shut down and go, shut down and leave.
And
So
go
it's
where?
it's a major crisis right now. Mozambicans are being asked to leave, Zimbabweans are being asked to leave, Zambians are being asked to leave. And these are their neighbors in Southern Africa. And
Yeah,
so the
yeah,
situation is not
yeah.
looking nice at all. And the
Mhm.
diplomatic bottlenecks and strains that brings and all of
Yeah.
that. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So maybe just to touch on that before I let you go further, the whole xenophobia thing, we have to understand that it does not necessarily begin when people are like physically violent to you. It actually begins earlier. It begins when people are hungry, unemployed, frustrated, feel abandoned, and then when these things happen to you, you want to blame it on the nearest foreigner, instead of asking harder questions around the system, history, leadership, and some things which you mentioned now. Most of these people are the economic manpower of the country, but they don't know it yet. South Africa is not necessarily the only place where this happens, but
Yeah.
sadly, they force us to face the painful truth, and something which is the painful questions that Africans ask themselves. What happens when the dream of another African country becomes another place where you are told you don't belong? And the funny thing is, abroad here, we are all classified as Africans, 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 but we're not necessarily the same, Um, and now it's when someone just says go back, and it's the funny thing is, if you hear that in Europe, for example, it's different than when you hear it, within the African continent, and my point being that this is something everyone really have to pay attention to, and really it goes beyond that direct physical hatred and actions. But please, Michael, back to you.
Yeah, you as you rightly pointed out, they are blaming their justification for these actions, the fact that they feel that their jobs are being taken away from them, their jobs are being taken, they are economically frustrated, unemployment rate among the indigenous South Africans increasing. They also feel that their heritage is at risk, that their women are no longer marrying their men, and their language might soon be lost. You know, They also feeling like there is also struggle for space, accommodation, and all that. They have made things more difficult for them. Or okay, in terms of business, also that they realize that the businesses owned by foreigners are a bit cheaper and they're more competitive. They stay longer nights, longer hours, and all that. So it's making survival. It's a threat to their own livelihood. So,
Mm.
and like you said, everything is now being the whole aggression has been transferred on the foreigners, the migrants who are living with them. It's like we all started this race together. Why are you angry that I won? Actually, we all had same length of distance to cover and everything. We all have same 24 hours and everything. I mean, nature is neutral. Why am I being blamed for? I mean, working the
Yeah,
extra hour
yeah,
and
yeah,
then showing the results. So I
yeah,
think it's a matter of the anger being channeled to the wrong persons, if I may say. Though they are,
mhm,
to an extent is justifiable, but again, I must also make it clear that we understand that it's not all South Africans. As a matter of fact, a good number of South Africans are opposed to all of these things we are seeing here.
mhm. And what exactly is the government saying? How about the government, the police, the army, the people who are supposed to protect people who are legally residents in the country? What's happening with that?
Yeah, like we've watched from the news outlets, and then maybe also on social media and other platforms, we've watched when migrants are being attacked and the police are not able to do anything. So that's why it is again difficult to understand the role of government in all of this. Like this group of people who are pro-South Africans, they have already given a deadline, but there have not been strong assurances from the government that this is not going to happen. So we've not seen enough political will
Mhm.
to set things right. And I think that's also the body language that some of these migrants are beginning to give into their country's program to repatriate them. More and more are beginning to register. Maybe because you've seen from the body language of the government that their
They're not
protection and
being
their safety cannot be guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah. That's really sad. But do you have an understanding about which category of people is doing this and how do they call themselves? It's like in every country, there are the people who are uh, rebelling, and then maybe they're like militants or what do they call themselves, right? Because we also know that it's not all South Africans that are for this. What do those people call themselves? Are they like rebels or militants?
I think the name they have given to themselves is what looks like the true sons of the soil. I mean, like true sons of their fathers, who are standing up to fight for the right of their fathers. In fact, I watched them. I forgot the name of this guy who is the one who is like the one spearheading all of this. I watched the video where he was talking about that everything that what is it called Mandela said about embracing other culture and other people, that he is just speaking for himself, that Mandela was not speaking for the people of South Africa, that he was on his own, that they are taking back their country, and no one is going to stop them from achieving this, what they have set out to achieve. And I think that's why they have given people this window to put their house together and move away from South Africa. Otherwise, after the 30th, the guy said he might not be able to calm his people down after 30th of June. That anything that any foreigner who fails to leave before this time faces after they set deadline, that such a person is on their own. So you now begin
Crazy.
to see where does the government actually come in, because people are left to fight for themselves and protect themselves, and in a foreign country, which is quite difficult.
But do you genuinely believe that other Africans in South Africa are the true cause of the problems of the South African?
Yeah, according to report, because they also blame all crimes. Even all crimes are blamed on the foreigners.
And
But
these
there's also
foreigners is just,
yeah,
say, fellow
yeah,
Africans
crimes.
that have been blamed.
No, I think there's this claim that most crimes are committed by the foreigners. So part of why they are doing this is to push their country of these criminals. And even though there are no empirical evidence to prove that this is true, there are no evidences to show that yes, this is the true picture of things. But I mean, for every single thing that goes wrong, it is very easy for this group of people to just blame it on the foreigners, and they don't seem to see anything positive about cohabiting or living together with the foreigners.
Yeah, that is really sad. Because what
Mm.
is happening now that they probably do not see is also what is quite typical in most countries that do not embrace foreigners. Because foreigners, migrant, whatever wherever they are called, they're truly the backbone of every great nation. That's the fact. I mean, why is US the way it is today? I mean, amongst every other thing, US still remains the place that you find the most diverse skills. And I think US, regardless of what is happening today, but I think they have found a way to harness the power of migrants, the power of foreigners, to leverage on it to get the best side of it. Of course, the current political situation may not really support that or say that, but deep down, that's really the bedrock of that nation. And to think other countries would see it differently, I think that's really sad because what's going to come in the future is probably not something that they are thinking about right now. You know, uh, the economic backbone of every nation is by that people that come with uniqueness, with a different view of things, and that's the benefit, and that's the unity in diversity, that's the benefit in diversity, which some countries understand and embrace, but others do not. But I think by and large, it's something that most people can mostly agree than disagree in the sense that, like here in Germany, for example, um, at the surface, it looked like, hey, especially also with the current political situation in Germany as well. It's like, hey, foreigners, these foreigners, that we don't need you guys. You don't hear it out directly. Uh, about a week ago, we went camping with, some friends of ours, of mine, all professionals working in different, sectors, like highly qualified, skilled individuals. And the conversation was like, um, yes, Germany needs foreigners. Germany needs skilled worker, that's for sure. But it's more like, we just want you to work, but we don't want to see your faces. Just do the work. So it's like next level acceptance of the necessities of foreigners. Like, yes, we want you to work. We understand your value, but we don't see your face. We don't want to see your faces. So don't show up in our beaches, in our bars, in our clubs. Don't show up in, just be in your lane. And it's like, it doesn't have to get to that stage for South Africa before they realize it. And it's really sad to think that this would be happening to fellow Africans, whatever that even means.
In like in Germany, you still have programs by the
Hmm.
government which shows from their body language that they are interested in foreigners. So also you still have strong systems in place that protect the
That's
right
right.
of foreigners.
That's
So
right.
these are things that naturally regulate how the citizens, the indigenous citizens from their
Mhm.
home countries respond to foreigners.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now, when you begin to see things that looks like in South Africa, they contrast. Like we've always discussed it on this platform, that Germany is saying, "Please come." They are not only saying, "Please come," but they also make provisions to accommodate you where you come. There are
yeah.
funds and budgets in the national budget set aside for foreigners. So these are ways that you know if someone is welcome. Like for instance, now, if I am coming to your house, you say I should visit you. The moment I am landing, as you are welcoming me, you are showing me my room. You are telling me your food is ready here. You're telling me, okay, you can make yourself comfortable if you want to see. So I will know that, yes, I am welcome here. But
Yeah.
if the moment I am coming to your house, I have sat for 2 hours and there's nobody's telling me where to go and drop my bag, and nobody's giving me water and all of that, it sends a signal that, man, you might need to start thinking of leaving immediately because you've not come to stay. So
Hmm.
this are just like, oh, if I could paint a picture, I'll use this analogy to make sense of the situation.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Germany, you have strong system. Once you are properly documented, you have their institutions and agencies who are to protect you, whether they like it or not. It's not about what you think as a law enforcement officer, but about what the law says to a very large extent. And if a
exactly.
law enforcement officer is caught acting in contrast to what the law says, they are painfully dealt with.
Yeah,
Painfully,
yeah.
no matter what it is, because the law is stronger than your emotions in other places. But it
That's
is
right.
looking like in places like South Africa that the emotions are stronger than the laws. That is what
Yeah,
it's looking like here.
Yeah,
Because in
yeah,
all of this, where does the law come in? How can I have all my documents and properly documented? I have been contributing to the GDP of this country. It's more like my home now. I have everything here. My children give birth to here. You're asking us to go back all in a flash?
yeah.
Go back
I
to
mean,
what exactly?
for some people, that's all their home. When you say go back to their home, some
Yeah.
kids will probably will genuinely they have no idea. I know a couple of friends who they are originally from other countries, but they were either they've stayed there for the longest time or they were born there. They have they were born there, born and raised there. They talk completely like South Africans. The only home they know is South Africa. So when you say go home, it's like, where is home exactly? And but on the other hand, what I still ask myself is, this is not the first time, it's not the second. It's like it's recurring every other year. But people still go there and settle. And even right now, as we are speaking, I'm sure there are people who are planning to move to South Africa, take a scholarship there, go study, go do something. So what do you make
Michael,
out of
Michael,
that?
now this is a situation. Let's take Nigeria for instance now. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
come across videos of gory videos of what is happening here. Okay, now your earnings, you're not sure of livelihood, and you're not sure of living. Your security and safety and livelihood, everything is threatened. Is it not
Mhm.
better to go to the place where maybe it might not come every year, or it might not be as hostile or as toxic or whatever as where you're coming from? Like in this place, even if you have ideas, for the idea to find expression is an issue. So
Yeah.
it's like choosing between two evils, a lesser evil.
Yeah.
So that becomes the case. So
Hmm.
if there's xenophobic attacks or whatever in South Africa, at least it still presents me with better opportunities. All right, so they just still make the move anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's a difficult topic. I mean, because right there in Nigeria also, it's like you're on one part of the country and then there's everything happening in the north, but people still travel every day. I mean, some don't even have no idea what is happening there. I recall back then in 2012 when I was serving in Gusau, and we're there, and the people back home they were the most worried, and we're living there had no idea what's happening, but everyone else outside just sees fire and war and everything else, but we were just there and had no idea you know but I think it's
You know,
still. Yeah, go on, please.
I wanted to say that the point is, if you sit back based on our human nature, one, you must go out to go and look for what to eat. Because if you sit
Mhm.
back, hunger will ask you to get up. Now, as you are
Yeah.
going, what we do here, you pray that you go and come back safely. Like I told you before we commenced this program that I'm just coming back from the Zaria axis. I went to Kudan local government. I've been to Savogira and all of that. These are the southern part, towards the northern part of Kaduna State. I know this guy could just appear from the bush and fire at the car. But I have to pray that I just go and come back safely anyway. Because I've got
Crazy.
kids back at home. They've got to eat. I've got a family. So I don't know. It's just about instinct. It's not about
Yeah,
the instinct.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The impulse will force you to move. I mean,
yeah, yeah. By the way, guys, if you're joining us here for the first time, this podcast is brought to you by Settling, the media platform which we are building to inform and connect you around migration. As you can listen right now, we're talking about a very sensitive topic here. You know, people still move to different locations, but how much information do you have about that location before you go there? In some cases, even when people are aware about the danger, they still move anyways. How much more if you have no idea about the danger? So for these, and of course many other reasons, we are building Settling to make it easy for you to connect with opportunities across the globe. We genuinely believe that foreigners are the workforce of every nation. If you check, you will see that, because when you leave your home country to another destination, you are already by default an entrepreneur. And the definition of an entrepreneur is someone who solves problem, however that might be. And that is why we're building Settling. And that's also why we do this podcast every other Friday. So if you're joining us for the first time, check out the platform which we're building. And yeah, we would also love to hear from you, get your feedback. The Settling app, the Android version was recently launched. So check it out. Scan the QR code to download it. Make a post on Settling. Tell us where you are connecting from, where do you want to go to, and what topic about migration are you interested in. We would love to see that people are well informed before they move abroad so that you can go to a destination where you don't just simply, relocate or move, but you truly make a difference when you go there. Because imagine what's happening today in South Africa. It's also happening at different levels in other locations too. So you want to be aware of what you're going to face there. But besides that, what are all the opportunities that are existing for you there? Because uh, migration is different from relocation. If you're migrating, it's a whole different ball game. We're just talking about people who are born in South Africa, and that's the only home that they know. And this is what happens with migration. For some people, they move as adults, and then they get married in that location. Then they have their children and all. That's the home of your child, of your children. So it's not an easy decision. And of course, for most people, you just want to move to study, for work, but other things will also come. So again, check out the platform which you're building, ask your questions on the platform, and we would love to hear from you. So
So
go on,
Michael, now,
Russell.
like just talking about, you went there as an adult, perhaps, or as a teen. Your children are giving birth to right there. They don't know, maybe from your home country, Nigeria. They have no business there. We've seen children choose their host nation over their home country in sports. We have Nigerians playing like a Saka is playing for England.
Mm-hmm.
His heart is with England. If
Yep.
England is playing a football match today with Nigeria, Saka is going to fly the England flag or the English flag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like that. And imagine now, the English people now telling Saka, go back to your country.
Which country, man?
Which country exactly are you talking about?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
these guys
yeah,
don't know, they don't really know how to channel their grievances,
yeah.
because this thing goes beyond just what you are facing. What you are facing is not exclusive to you. Everybody
That's right.
faces hardship, but you shouldn't transfer your aggression or your difficulties on what you may want to consider a soft target.
That's right.
And now, for instance, now, and it's quite shameful because it puts those of you in Europe under pressure, if not that they have strong system. It's
Yep.
like your friend hearing your brothers insult you that you are a nobody. It's going to rub on how they perceive you too. So
Of
if
course.
your fellow South Africans are saying, go back to your country, what can the Europeans say to you?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
painfully, it's quite laughable because there are South Africans in Germany, there are South Africans in America, there are South
Yep.
Africans in other parts of Africa too.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And they are
Yep.
asking other
Yep.
Africans to go back to it. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, really.
Exactly. Yeah. So how would it be like if everybody just say, okay, everybody go to your country, and
Go to your country.
let's everyone just go to their country and then we're done. But again, there is no world like that. There
You
is no
know.
world that exists that way. Go on, please.
Now I wanted to just make another point and to deviate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When you say you don't want to welcome foreigners in your country, you are limiting yourself. And let me go biblically a little bit, please. And I beg your pardon, excuse me, our viewers, if you take exception to this. When there was an issue in Egypt, it was a slave boy, Joseph. Pharaoh called everybody, all his soothsayers and everybody who can interpret dreams. He asked everybody. They couldn't
Yep.
provide the answer. Then he
Yep.
asked one of his is it cupbearer, and the guy said, I know of a guy, a Hebrew boy, who could interpret this properly for you. And then I called Joseph. Joseph showed up, and then he interpreted the dream, and he brought a solution, and he brought pride to Egypt. They said for
Yep.
7 years there was famine all around, but in Egypt there was surplus. It was a foreigner who brought that solution.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you are saying all foreigners leave, you are able to cause, you don't know, like you mentioned earlier, you don't know what the implication of that your decision or
Nope.
actions in the long term.
Yeah,
it might backfire on you. The guys who might provide you the next economic solution, who might provide you the next boom in technology, you are chasing
yeah,
them away, and it has
yeah,
grievous implications.
yeah,
So that is
yeah.
why anybody who is angry with South Africa should also pity them.
At the same time, you know, at the same time. But sadly, the yeah, sadly, there are also a lot of victims in this case. So, in as much as one would also pity them for what they're doing because they do not know it, um, there are also a lot of victims here who need help. So, if you're watching this and you have your relative there, whatever you can do to support them to get them to a safe place, please do that. And if this helps, just maybe find a safe place to go to. Um, the fact is, one would always face one issue or the other. I mean, even in your own home country where you live, it's not the safest place. So at the end of the day, it just adds up to, again, one of the problems of our current world. you know yeah.
Yeah, talking about being there for your loved ones, because for a lot of them, their shops have been locked for days and weeks. Their means of livelihood has been shut down. So, I mean, feeding are the
Yeah.
basic things of life. For a man who was living well, you can no longer earn, you have no access to a couple of things and all that. So, it's a difficult time for a good number of them. And I think which is why they are all beginning to give in to their country's program to return back home. And like we
Yeah.
said earlier, home to where? Some of them, they don't have, the only home they know now is South Africa. For the
Exactly.
children born there,
If
home
they
to where?
if they board that plane and then land in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Congo, so what next? But anyways, still thanks to the other African countries that are making provisions for their citizens to come back. It could be worse than that, right? Maybe there's no provision. So at least there is flights to take the people. But do you know if there are programs in place for the people who are coming back to the country? So like the Ghanaians that just were recently flown back to Ghana and Nigeria. Do you know if there are programs to get them back into the system, or what happens once they land the airport?
I think there's a glitch in the network. I can't really get you.
Yeah, I was saying that um, now that we also know that for some people, the only home that they know is South Africa. What happens when they return to Nigeria, to Ghana? Are there provisions for them on how they can get back or reintegrated into the system, where to start from? Do you know about this?
Well, I don't mean disrespect to our uh, Africa countries here, but as you know, has always been the case. It's always about the sincerity. The sincerity. The government would ask you come back home, will make so thing for you and all the promises, and later these people will be left unattended and you're not left frustrated. So that's a major challenge. Otherwise, what you're saying is the right thing to do. You make proper arrangement for their livelihood. How can they settle in into their home countries and provide some level of so-called maybe accommodation where to put their head, where they arrive, like a transit camp where they can sit for a period of time, and all of that. All the such programs can be properly arranged. But to be very sincere with you, because even when more Ghanaians begin to put in register their interest, the Ghanaian government became overwhelmed, which because of the size of arrangement that they made initially. So when more
Mhm.
persons indicated interest, then I became overwhelmed. So, like for instance, now if even there was such an arrangement, it is not always the forecast is not such that it takes care of whatever number. They don't even have an
Everyone.
idea of how many of our citizens are there and all that. So statistics and data and all of these things that should have been very useful, it's not
Yeah,
really in place, and so it's difficult to properly plan. The
yeah,
only
yeah.
thing, I don't mean disrespect to them, is we back at home, the leadership is only interested in how much the diasporans contribute to their uh,
Economy.
revenue, the
Mm.
country's budget, and it's more about diasporan contribution remittances than their welfare, especially when things go bad.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we are almost running out of time. This is how far we can go today on this topic about xenophobia in South Africa and what's really happening. We would love to hear your thoughts about the current situation in South Africa. Where are you located right now? What have you heard? What have you seen? And one or more of your relatives, contacts affected by this situation, let us know your thoughts. And do not forget to sign up on Settling, the platform that we are creating, to see that people are well informed on before they migrate, and that if you migrate, if you relocate, that you're doing it the right way, and that it's also sustainable for you long term. So, Michael, that's all I have to say. Maybe any final word from you before we wrap it up for the evening.
Well, like I said earlier, you don't know which chick is going to lay the golden egg. And so it is only important that you carry every other chick along. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So
Are you there?
unemployment, harsh economic situation, all of these are realities. We all agree. But
Yeah.
please be matured as you channel your energy their own host countries, their presidents, and all of that. But don't take laws into your hand. You might regret it. It's not the best action.
Yeah.
You are taking one of the worst option, and it's not acceptable.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today across the different media platforms. We wish you a nice evening, Friday, rest of the weekend, and see you around soon. Cheers, everybody.